Yes, yes, yes. Good morning and welcome back to the Football Terrace. Thank you very much, as ever, for tuning in today. The Manchester United transfer merry-go-round continues. The news is just everlasting. It's evergreen. But we have to guard against misinformation as well. It now turns out that yesterday's £91 million bid for Jadon Sancho indeed did not take place. From David Ornstein to Fabrizio Romano, right across the spectrum of credible journalists in the UK and from sort of pan-Europe, all barring Sky Sports denying the notion that Manchester United had bid. Even the journalists that you may consider to be more Dortmund friendly or pro Dortmund in this situation. So it's an interesting one for us to digest and look at. We're going to talk Jovic to Manchester United and the rumours circulating surrounding that. Update you on the Jadon Sancho situation as it stands right now. The Terrace deal took more twists and turns yesterday evening. So there's so much going on in Manchester United's world right now. But do me a few favors before we go any further. Hit the like button first of all. Really important that you do that for us independent YouTubers. Whether you're watching me, whether you're watching DT's channel, whether you're watching Neek Sports, all of these, the gold diggers, whoever you're watching on YouTube, it's not about whether you like the content, just like the video, like in that particular thread, that particular video, like the content, just because it helps support the independents and the traditional YouTubers over the corporates that are now flooding and infesting the platform. So please make sure that you get that done. Really important to us that you do. In terms of Alex Telles, information this morning says Telles is almost complete. Pending a few here he goes in the next 24 hours. Full focus on Sancho now until the window closes. No centre-backs being signed. That's a few updates that have gone out this morning. Like I've said all along with Telles, I think the Telles deal is done. I think the Telles deal is they have almost at total agreement level. I think what's holding up the Telles deal is purely and simply getting rid of Pereira and getting rid of Chris Smalling and maybe throwing Delo into that mix as well. I think Man United will up their efforts once 2 or 3 exits are confirmed, and at the very least, the salaries are moved from the ongoing player costs. I think is going to be imperative. Good morning, by the way, to Dean Wiki. Good morning to Leonardo. Good morning to Dan Munro. Good morning to Harrison Lang. All of our members that are here with us this morning. A massive thank you to each and every single one of you for tuning in. Dan here. What's it? Sorry. Harrison Lang says, Terry, last night, KJ said leave Mount alone because players are sensitive, yet sat on a show 2 weeks ago and mocked Shaw for 1 hour straight. Listen, I think you've got to go back and look at exactly what KJ said last night. Criticism of a player is fine. He was talking about the abuse of an individual. That's the fundamental difference in what was being said. So I wouldn't overly concern yourself with that, but I hear where you're coming from, Harrison. I do hear that. A few people here saying, Terry, forget Sancho not happening. Listen, bro, we are not forgetting about the Sancho deal. Until the Sancho deal is confirmed as off by a credible source, it's not happening. Ray Carr with the super chat says, big man, bring the content. Thank you. I appreciate that, bro. Dan Munro, my member here, says, morning, Tez. It's Terry Tibbs getting a bit mad now. These rumors they don't think Sancho is happening now. Listen, United, a lot of United rivals are not going to want these to happen. And Terry Tibbs is not one of these people. Terry's a real sensible geezer, really and truly. Most rivals, I've got maybe 20 or 30 viewers of the channel. And excuse me 1 second. I have maybe 20 or 30 viewers of the Football Terrace who consistently on a daily basis send me news articles that are negative about Man United, and they never send a positive one. Equally, I have viewers who send me every bit of positive news about Manchester United and never anything that is negative. And as you know, what we're meant to be doing here at the Football Terrace is collating news as we read and see it, presenting it to you, the viewers, and then everybody has an opportunity to give an opinion on it. That is what primarily we are. Our match reviews are the same. The game happened. These are the facts. Give us your opinions on them. That's how it is. Someone said to me the other day, Terry, you're not credible. I said, credible in what way? And they're like, well, credible as a journalist. I'm not trying to be a journalist. I don't want to be a journalist. I have absolutely zero interest in doing that. I'm a football fan, and I've created a community where we can give opinions on football. If you don't like the fact that maybe, just maybe, somebody has a difference of opinion, or the news story that's being shared isn't one that you want to be true or one you believe in, then go somewhere else. Go to your little echo chambers. Be that little baby. Wah, wah, wah. Terry, I know you want this deal to happen. Mo, of course I want the deal. What Man United fan in their right mind doesn't want Jadon Sancho at Manchester United? Come on, Mo. Ludicrous thing to say. Getting bored of Sancho dragging on now. Listen, I never get bored of these things. Yesterday was a prime example of why I love the transfer market. We were told a bid had come in. We were told it had been rejected. The player, of course, pulling out of the squad. And then within an hour, it's all debunked, barring being pulled out of the squad, which is what keeps it all alive. It's amazing. There's talk Jovic. The Jovic deal's an interesting one to me because it's almost come out of nowhere. And I said a few days ago and got absolutely shot down that Manchester United could cancel early the Igalo loan. No, everyone loves him. Rare. I was thinking, no, you know what? He just hasn't been the same player since lockdown. And I know he's only had a handful of appearances, but in the few that he's made, he has looked rank average. And after his first sort of 2 to 3 months at the club, I thought we've got a player here who could be a good backup. My mind is very quickly changing. Maybe he was getting through on adrenaline and piss and wind, and fair play to him. It's a boyhood dream to play for the club. But Jovic represents a very different type of player, younger, fitter, stronger, and with a point to prove. And United do face some stiff competition. There are a number of clubs that are looking for him. But, Man United are currently in the best position to get the loan after we advance the talks considerably through Tuesday with both the player's agent and with Real Madrid. Real Madrid want to put him out. What Man United are just looking for in this deal is the opportunity to have not a compulsory purchase order that makes it a guarantee we have to buy him, but a first refusal. And they want the first refusal to be in front of Real Madrid. So if Jovic comes in and bangs in 25 goals for us in the league next season and we're desperate to keep him, United want to protect against the longer-term benefit of United's coaching and training and the rebuilding of the confidence of Luka Jovic benefiting Real Madrid. And again, this demonstrates further phenomenal business from Manchester United, because we're not here to train other people's players. We're not here to get one good season out of a player and then send him off. Luka Jovic should not be viewed by Manchester United as an injured bird that we're going to help repair the bird's wings and then set it back off into the wild. No, we're here to take him and to develop him. And then if he turns out to be good enough, we take him full time and make him a Manchester United player. So that's the only thing holding the deal up, is that Man United do not want to put themselves in a position where we retrain him, rejuvenate him, and then Real Madrid get 4, 5, 6, 7 years of absolute quality out of the player. That would be a criminal thing for Manchester United to do. And I know for a fact that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is about Man United. So the deal will only happen if we get that. If we get that element within the contract and within the signing. But I think it would be a phenomenal piece of business. I really think there's a player in there who just didn't click at Real Madrid for whatever reason. We've got Josh here who says Luka Jovic is class when he gets going. He's not at Real Madrid for nothing. The quality is there. Absolutely. And sometimes it takes an arm around the shoulder. Look at the brilliance and look at the quality that Ollie has placed into the likes of, look at the difference in Anthony Martial as a football player. Look at the improvements in Marcus Rashford. Look at the development of Mason Greenwood, the joint highest goal-scoring teenager in the history of Manchester United Football Club. And He's still a teenager this year. He could break that record if he gets 19 goals this year. It's phenomenal. The turnaround in career that we have seen Fred have at Manchester United, one where people want him starting games now, as opposed to this time last year, people wanted him sold. So do I have faith that Ollie can get a tune out of Jovic? Yes, I think he can. Also, that the connection with Matic being here, that Serbian connection, these little, home comforts and creature comforts could pay dividends. And to get him on loan for a fraction of the price it would cost to buy him up front, I think it would represent phenomenal business from Manchester United. It's an improvement on Ighalo, and that's how we have to look at every single signing that Manchester United make. Does it improve our current situation? If the answer is yes, then it is worthwhile doing, as long as it doesn't stop a bigger target coming in. So, if we were to sign Ousmane Dembele on a loan, which has been spoken about as nonsense, that doesn't stop Sancho coming next year if we fail to land him this year. Buying him for £70 million on a permanent deal probably does. So it's not something at this stage that I would endorse, because I'd rather wait a year to get Sancho than buy somebody that I think isn't as good, because I care more about the medium to long-term plan and future of Manchester United than I do than the necessity to have instant gratification. David Hall here, one of our members, says Jovic's quality, just not suited for Real Madrid. He goes, a very good piece of business for us. Hope we can get him. Tim Robertson here says Dembele is a better player than Sancho, but he's more injury prone. Then he's not a better player. Your fitness levels and your ability to stay fit is part of your makeup as a football player. The same as your decision making, your bravery, all these things, Kata. Original Base Annie here has upgraded his membership to first team member. Thank you, my friend. Anybody else who wants to upgrade their membership or become a member, the link is in the description below. You'll also see the link to our Football Terrace Clips account. Please go and subscribe to that. We're growing by 20, 30, 40 subscribers per day, but there's 1,100 of you watching. It would be amazing if you all went and clicked on that right about now and subscribe to that channel. Let's have a little look here. We've got Kish on the line with us. Kish, welcome back to the Football Terrace. What do you want to say, mate?
Yeah, Terry, thanks for having me on. Just wanted to talk about Luka Jovic a little bit. Before I went to Madrid, I actually wanted Manchester United. And, talking to a lot of United fans, the common thing was that he would have, they didn't want Martial to be misplaced out of the team or displaced, as you would rather say, And I think that's the problem with a lot of Manchester United fans when we're buying players. It's not for the want of getting a Rashford out of the team or Anthony Martial. It's just for depth. It's just to strengthen the squad, because, we're Manchester United at the end of the day. We need the utmost quality coming off the bench or in the starting 11, So a lot of times when we sign players, it's not to misplace players. You get what I'm saying? When City does it and Liverpool carrying players, everybody praise them, because you always want to be at the top, and to be at the top, you always have to have the best of the best players. And with Luka Jovic, I think if he comes in, Ole definitely can get something with him, because as someone said in the comment section, he didn't just end up at Madrid like that. Madrid obviously buy quality players, and oftentimes it doesn't work out. Maybe, with the coaching at Madrid in terms of Zinedine Zidane, he doesn't have that arm to wrap around Jovic in terms of to get the best out of him. And we've heard consistent reports about Luka Jovic not being happy there, and to thrive in that environment, you definitely have to be happy. And what we've seen Ole done with Anthony Martial scoring 17 goals in the Premier League, Marcus Rashford as well, I think he'll kick on this season, and Mason Greenwood, I think it's on a positive if Jovic comes in to Manchester United. But the price has to bread eventually, because I think his stocks has dropped. So if we could get him for a good price, then I would definitely take him.
No, I agree with you, mate. I think that there are definite positives, and like you say, the structure of the deal is what's going to be so important here. Because if Manchester United can bring him in on a loan with a sort of option to buy that puts us in front of that stops us. Sorry, I just have to mute you in the background, Terry. It's a bit noisy, mate. Sorry, one sec. Stand the line though, mate. I think, what was I saying? Sorry, I lost my train of thought. My fault. Essentially, like I've said already, I think we need to get a deal in place that means if we want to keep him, Real Madrid can't stop it. But if we don't want him, we get to send him back. because where it would represent, again, I keep talking about doing good business and not just for the individual season or for the sake of the quality of player. It needs to be a deal that legitimately benefits Manchester United in a positive way. Terry's on the line with us. Terry, if you unmute your line for us, mate, and come on. What do you make of these sort of yesterday's sort of circus about the bid being rejected, then there turned out to be no bid? Jadon Sancho, of course, pulling out of the Dortmund squad, which is true. And then you have the situation, of course, with the Jovic moves as well, escalating. Give us your overarching opinions, mate.
It's getting a little bit mad now in it with the Sancho situation. I think Dortmund are being very clever, actually. I think what they're doing now is they're starting to turn it into a bidding war for next year. I don't think Dortmund had any intentions of letting them go this year. I think what they wanted to do was they wanted to drive up the price of Jadon Sancho by, again, using Man United as the benchmark. Obviously, if you're going to put in a £90 million bid for him, Dortmund are going to sit back at that and go, well, they're willing to pay 90 and they've got to sell to buy. You know, what about the likes of Barcelona, Madrid? I wonder if they're going to come in for him. What are they going to pay? You know, could be north of 150 million plus. So I think Dortmund are being very clever in a sense that they're doing good business in terms of they're just driving up the price of Sancho. My fear is for Manchester United, if clubs like us, like Liverpool, get rid of, let's say, for instance, Salah to Madrid, you know, would Sancho, I think personally, Sancho, if we could afford him, I think he'd rather come to us than United, just from a footballing perspective. And that's the worry I have for Man United, is if they don't get Sancho now, it's going to be never. And on the Luka situation, I see a lot of people in the comments talking about like he's a flop and all this. If Man United pull that off, that's absolutely brilliant business, in my opinion. I think he's a quality player. He's playing in a system in Real Madrid that just doesn't suit his type of play. He's an intelligent finisher, and I mean proper intelligent. Look at his runs in behind. Look at the way he pulls defenders away. Look at his runs in. The way he gets to the byline. He's a striker, but he's not. He does the job of a number 10 as well as being a striker. And he's a quality finisher, absolutely quality. So all the people who say, "Oh, he's a flop," this and that, they've never watched him play. In my opinion, they're literally just jumping on the bandwagon, and it's a shame to see. Because no matter what says, no matter what you say in this channel, people are going to be negative all the time.
Oh, about their rivals, 99.9% of the viewers are in with this. As I say, I get certain people that send me, like someone like yourself, you're kind of pessimistic about United's chances of getting Sancho, but then you're positive about other news that comes in. So it's different. You're balanced in your views on the United situation. What we get from a lot of people, no matter who we're linked with, it's never, you're not getting him. And I feel like where I feel sad for these people is we do land quite a few of our targets, but yet every single target we're linked to, the same people when we were linked to Donny van der Beek, no way you're getting him over Barca or Real Madrid. And then he joins, and it's like, why would you? Some of you are just doing it for kicks, but for some people, I think they truly believe what they're saying at the time they say it. You're just setting yourself up to be disappointed. I think when every deal that's linked to Man United, you say isn't going to happen, and then the one that doesn't, you're like, see, I told you. No, you didn't really. You told me all summer that was signing no one. I think. Go on, mate. Go on, Kish. Go on, mate.
And that thing, I think, as I said before, a lot of times, rival fans say things, and United fans as well, especially on social media. A lot of times I just feel that it's just for clicks, because nowadays in society, you post foolishness and you get a lot of likes and, followers for it. So a lot of times fans and rival fans just do that for the clicks, to be honest.
Yeah, and I get that. Look, I think on the Jadon Sancho situation, just to reiterate, the bid situation's interesting. It's now being kind of briefed by a lot of people that the £91 million bid is something that we were looking at bidding about a month ago and never did, because United didn't want to make a bid that was going to be rejected. Again, it's a weird PR thing, but then we get why, because it takes one. You only have to use the word rejection around Manchester United, and the whole world goes crazy. I'm picturing in my mind the scene of the Joker talking to Two-Face in the hospital, saying, one little word rejection in the title with Man United, and everybody loses their mind. and this is normal. What I do think is quite telling is Jadon Sancho being omitted from the squad. Now, I know they're claiming it's this, and the more you read about it in Germany, it's this mysterious, undiagnosed respiratory issue that he has, which could just mean he's been winded. But I feel like there's something in that, in some respects, and we'll see over the next few days. I mean, if he's in the squad for Saturday, then maybe there's nothing in that. But if he's still missing for that game Saturday, you will see tongues aplenty wagging, if that makes sense, because that's what United fans have been waiting, and the media especially been waiting for all summer, is for Sancho to not be part of a training session or a match day squad, or to kind of refuse to play. And maybe now that this is the only thing, again, from a positive point of view, from United's point, is what's been said by a lot of credible people is as soon as United are about to ready their official bid, that is when you'll see Jadon Sancho look to pull away from Dortmund, whether it be a transfer request, whether it be I'm not in the right frame of mind, whatever the kind of terminology to be used is. But we'll see. And I think the next 5 days, just like yesterday, because yesterday evening from about 4:30 through till midnight was just mad. I mean, we literally went for an hour's cycle where the player missed the squad, then a bid came in, then the bid was rejected, then supposedly Dembele is coming to Manchester United, then that was rejected, then that notion was closed down, then it turned out there was no bid from us in the first place. That all happened in about an hour and a half, which is crazy, which I thought was absolute madness. But then that's why I love the transfer market. I prefer it more when it's not my club, because you have no emotional attachment. You can just enjoy it, but it's certainly going to be a massive, massive ride. We've got Pav on the line with us now. Pav, what do you make of all this news in the last 24 hours, mate?
It's been eventful, hasn't it? Like,
yes.
We've been linked to Cavani, Dembele, Jovic, obviously Jadon Sancho's ongoing, whether the bid actually went in or not, because there's different reports. Obviously Sky was saying that we've been rejected for a bid of, I can't remember what it was, 90 million or something like that. And then other reports are saying, like, in Germany, that a bid actually hasn't come in. But obviously, on those transfer rumours, one of the players I don't want nowhere near this club is probably Ousmane Dembele. Even on loan, I wouldn't want him. Obviously, we all know his track record of what's going on at Barca, injury record. I wouldn't mind Edison Cavani at this club. Like, I mean, with someone with his experience, he's not a bad player. Even for his age, he was still doing it at PSG up until he left the club. The Luka Jovic one as well, I wouldn't mind. I don't mind that deal as long as it's a loan with an option to buy, because I really do think I don't mind having him in for a season. But my ideal target, who we should all, like, as Man United should go out for, is probably Haaland at the end of the season. That's who we should really be going out for if we want a striker in the club, because that guy is world class in my opinion. And if he's got a buyout clause of what's reported to be of 65 mil, there's no reason why we shouldn't go in for him at the end of the season anyway. So I wouldn't mind either you or Edison Cavani in for a year.
And that's why, and that's also why the Jovic deal, if you get the structure right, could be genius, because if you get an option where you have first refusal on Jovic, even over that of Real Madrid, you can then weigh your options up as you go into next summer and go, okay, well, we've got Jovic as a guarantee, but we actually would prefer Haaland. So let's go for Haaland for 50 mil. And if we don't get him, we know we've got the fullback here. And this is what I keep saying to United fans about, I care more about the medium to long-term plan that Ollie has, as opposed to what we do right now at this very moment. I keep hearing this. I'm not sure who's created this notion that it's like, if it's the most important summer ever, if we don't get Jadon Sancho, that's it. Ollie's dream, Ollie's work, everything's done. And I sort of feel like, is this the final season of the Man United show, where, you know, if your favorite couple don't actually get together, you know, like Ross and Rachel from Friends, you know, it's not the end of Game of Thrones here. It's not end of The Sopranos. There are going to be 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 seasons more that the viewers watching now are going to see of Manchester United. It isn't about getting it all right now. It's about getting things set in. Do you get where I'm coming from? And I just feel like we're all getting a little bit dragged into this drama, like we're going into the season finale. Like it's that we know Ghost is going to be killed at the end of this season, and we need all the loose ends tied off, and we simply don't. It's football is a revolution every single season. It's an ongoing cycle of change. There are star players that everybody wanted last summer, the year before that, who are absolutely nowhere now as football players. So fans, we all have our wants. We all think we're right, and I'm one of them. But there could be a player this summer that I'm desperate for. In 3 or 4 years' time, we might look back and go, so glad we didn't sign him. And I think we just need to be a little bit more mindful. We need to relax it. I'll give you an example right now. Whenever Man City sign a defender, have you noticed that nobody really gets excited for him? Why? Because the one thing you'd aim at Klopp is that his success rate of signing good quality defenders is low. So everybody writes them off. And I think that, so I just look at it like this. I do care who we sign, and I'm excited about them. But I'm even open-minded about the players I want and the majority of fans want. Even the Sanchos and the Terraces. There's this part of me that just thinks, I'm going to be excited and gassed, but let's see how they do. Because we've all been in this situation before where we thought, right, this signing makes us title challenges again, and it hasn't worked. We've also made signings like Bruno in January. We thought, he'll be good. And he's absolutely rejuvenated us. And I haven't seen an impact in a Man United shirt like that since Robin Van Persie, which we're getting towards a decade ago. So I'm just relaxed about the whole situation. I have my wants, but then let's review it as and when.
Can I ask you a question?
Actually, of course you can, mate. Whenever you want. Go on, bro.
So, like, obviously, we've all seen like the other say top 6 make signings and bolster their squad. And well, someone's mic.
That's man like Mo. I muted you, Mo. That's awful. Sort that out, bruv.
Yeah.
Go on, mate.
Obviously, we've all seen the other clubs make extra signings. Like, I was looking at the fixture list, right, and we've got a lot of games coming up. I think we've played Tottenham this week, and then we've got a little mini break, a week or so, and we've got a lot of fixtures coming up. And like, obviously, I'm patient until I see what happens all the way up until Monday. But if we don't make any signings, like, how annoyed would you be? Like, if we don't make enough signings, because it's inevitable. There's going to be injuries in this squad. I can already see it coming. You've already started seeing some of the other teams in this league, their players picking up injuries, and it's like, what, 2-3 games in already?
Yeah. Now, Pav, I get you on that. And like I said yesterday, if we don't sign anybody else from now, I will be frustrated. I will be frustrated.
Yeah, because that's like, obviously, as a fan, for like all of us as fans, that's a major concern for us, because that squad needs help. It needs depth.
Of course it does, Pav. Of course it does. What I was about to say, though, is that I will be annoyed. But then it becomes about looking at the bigger picture. So why haven't we signed them? And what's next? So if we sign no one now, and then we end up picking Sancho up in January for what we consider to be a sensible price, then I wouldn't say I'm happy we didn't get him in the summer, because I want him for the whole season, but I'm trusting the process. If we don't get any of these targets now, and then in January we sign no one, and next summer we end up going after a completely new bunch of people, then it will show that nothing we did this summer was working. Unless, again, it's contextual, unless we change our minds about certain players because they have absolute stinkers of seasons. But I'm pretty confident we'll bring in at least one more player. I know we're going for at least 2 more. We could end this well. What I will say is this: Chelsea and Liverpool have legitimately strengthened, in my view. Yes, City have brought in 3 players. Ruben Diaz of reported high quality. Nathan Ake, squad player. Torres, squad player. So they've had one major signing. Liverpool have done phenomenal with the 2 major bits of business they've done. You can't deny that. Absolutely phenomenal. Chelsea, nothing needs to be said. Spurs, though, their major signings they're still working on. As of right now, Skriniar and of course Malik, their 2 big major signings are there. They brought in some good squad level, but they needed that because they lost quite a few players and their squad was threadbare. As an example, Arsenal have signed 2 young centre backs who one hasn't even played a single minute yet in the Premier League. The other was dropped for the first tough challenge they had this season. So they're for the future. They're not now. Willian, we know about Willian. Their major target still not signed. I'm not saying, because they haven't, we should be happy. That's not my suggestion at all. We should demand more of our club. I think all of those teams will make signings in the next few days. Why is it taking these clubs to this point to get some of these big deals done? Just look at the fact of who they're all trying to sell. They're all trying to get players out of the football club to get things done. They're in that position as an example. Next summer, when Liverpool are going to go for a big player like an Mbappe, if they can't find a buyer or agree a price for one of their big players that needs to leave to help fund that or make room, watch it go to the wire as an example. Chelsea, if they hadn't sold Hazard the way they did the year before, and Morata the way they did the year before, some of their deals would have dragged on to this point as well. They had nearly £200 million of cash to spend on players from previous sales before. Does that make sense? Do you get where I'm coming from? So for me, I'm not defending Man United. We need to do better. We need to be there. But context needs to be applied, because what the media will do to people is they will twist it into this fake notion that it's only United that are struggling. It's only Man United who can't get their business out. It's only Man United that leave it to the last week. It's only Manchester United that had to sell before they buy. And it's a complete and utter lie. It's a complete lie. If Chelsea's looks better simply because it's spread over 2 years, as opposed to, do you get where I'm coming from? They take away context. But then that's why they do it. They do it because they know Man United fans are angry and it rattles things up. It doesn't mean you have to think what we're doing is amazing. But it means you have to apply context, in my opinion, because you are, otherwise you're being a rat and you're being dragged along the street by the Pied Piper and the media are laughing at you. And why would you want the rag press to laugh at you? It makes no sense.
Also, Terry, just to say something, that's how business is run as well, because not even business, but, sales in general. For example, you have a vehicle and it's an asset, it has a value, and you want to sell it to buy, the latest vehicle. Yes, you might have the money to buy the latest vehicle. You might have that put on one side, or you might have it, by a loan. But at the end of the day, the vehicle that you have in your possession is still worth a value, and you have to have a buyer for that vehicle, because you just don't want to give away the vehicle like that, because maybe there's 300,000 on that vehicle that you could get it sold for. So in football as well, we might dislike Phil Jones and these players that, they don't contribute to Manchester United. But at the end of the day, we have to understand that these players have value on them, and we have to move them on. Sometimes fans think that, £50 million is nothing, or that type of money, but it's life-changing for us fans. That's just normal people at the end of the day. So it's a lot of money to Manchester United when they're looking to move on these players, and Arsenal, for one, they're looking to move on Lucas Torreira and, other players as well. And I'm sure that if they get these players moved on before deadline day or on deadline day, then they'll go in for the main target. That's the guy from Lyon, because we heard that the bid for him as well, but it was a low offer. And they have to generate money to go in back for that player as well.
Yeah, listen, I totally understand. And I think that when it comes to football, fans have got into, because it's not our money, as they all say. What's happened to us is this notion of, we know the price of everything in football, but the value of nothing. And this whole notion of just spend the money, I can't accept it from anyone, because I've heard from those same Man United fans for 7 years, why did we waste money? And now they want us to waste money, which I find a tad hypocritical. And I will defend how Ollie and his team are operating in the transfer market, because it's yielded a lot of success so far. And we need to be mindful of that. And equally, you start going through the players that have been bought by our rivals in the Premier League as an example. If we were linked to Jota, would Man United fans have been singing from the rafters? I think you'd have got, he's good, but we want more. Thiago, absolutely, we'd have loved that the club, not denying it. Brilliant signing. Let's go through Arsenal's. If we sign Willian, would we be happy? No. Would we be happy if we signed Gabriel?
It's a meltdown.
Yeah, Willian would be a meltdown. Gabriel, again, was about 50-50 when we were linked with him. And based on the fact that, let's see what happens at them. But okay, I think if we'd signed him, we'd have been, okay, that's nice, right? We then go and look at Tottenham. If we sign Mac Doherty, I don't think anybody would have been overly infused. The Reguilon deal, yes, I think people looked at him and liked him, but didn't want us to have that buyout clause. But okay, he'd have been a good signing. Would we have been happy with Højbjerg? Absolutely not in a month of Sundays. So you look at that, them ones are done. We then go to Chelsea. Kai Havertz, I think the name, yes, but he plays in the same position that Bruno's in. So why would we sign him? That's a nonsense. I'm already seeing Man United fans kicking off about Jovic. because Martial might miss out on games. There's tweets this morning where they're people are like talking about Martial's run that led to Rashford's goal the other day that pulled defenders away, which by the way is very true. And it's all being quote tweeted by Martial FC saying Jovic could never. So they're already attacking Jovic, and he's not a Man United player because they're scared for the guy they fan by, Martial. So Timo Werner would have got the same treatment. You've had a split on that. But yes, a lot would have liked Timo Werner. I'm not going to deny it. Ziyech, everybody would have said, no, why are we getting Ziyech? We want Sancho. That's what they would have said. Ben Chilwell, they would have said was an overpriced Englishman. Thiago Silva, Man United fans would have said he's far too old. Why are we signing him as an example? If we'd have signed Mendy, why when we've got Henderson as an example? Declan Rice, if we were linked with him, it'd be why are we signing more English players? English players are overrated. That would have been the general consensus when looking at Chelsea's signings. City signings, Ake, yeah, I think people would have been okay with that. Torres, who's he? That would be the reaction. Ruben Diaz, definitely, I think United fans would be happy with it. So when you go through the signings that have even been made by our rivals, I would say 60 to 70% nobody wanted. There's a good 10% that would have been 50-50. So you're left with sort of 10 to 20% where United fans unilaterally would have gone, yes, I want them. So when you actually think about the business that's been done by rivals, how much of it would you actually want at Man United? So it almost becomes an irrelevance what they've done because you don't need those players in those positions. And if you needed a Kai Havertz, maybe we could have gone and got him. If we needed a Mac Doherty, maybe we would have gone and got him. It's just this element of I have to stop just for our rivals have signed 4 players. Did we need those 4 players? No. Were they our targets? No. Then why are you focusing on them? It's such a weird train of thought to ever have, in my opinion. Like I was that's a lie. I was reading a thread of United, Arsenal, and Chelsea fans arguing yesterday about who the better manager is out of the current crop. And a lot of the rivals were saying you can't put Ollie into that same crop because he's actually been a manager for like 10 years or so. At the same time, those people won't credit Ollie with winning back-to-back league titles and winning a national cup. Oh, yeah, but it's like a crap standard league. It doesn't count. Well, then nor does his experience, does it? You can't call him an experienced manager and not compare him to novices, but then remove the achievements he made because either that experience counts for something or it doesn't. And if it counts for something, then winning trophies within that period must also count for something. And I think that this is the problem with football fans. It starts becoming more about our own opinions and our own kind of narcissism than it does the bigger picture. And that's what I think is going on with United. I want these signings through, but let's focus on what Manchester United need. And if we don't get what you think we need in one summer, why? What else do you think we're looking at? And equally, just because you prioritize a centre-back over a Donny van der Beek and a Jadon Sancho now, doesn't mean you're right. Equally, the target we may have to come in and be that new centre-back may not be available this summer. Maybe he's completely unattainable and the club we're trying to buy him from shut down all conversations and just quite simply said, we will not entertain anything. Not like Dortmund, who kind of said, well, come on, show us what you got. And this is where fans have got to wonder, just wait and see what happens over the next couple of years. It's not all about right here, right now, we're going to go out and buy everybody. And I tell you why. The same Man United fans crying that we haven't made 4 or 5 signings because they think we need that are laughing at Chelsea because they've made that many signings and it isn't gelling. You know, it's the mind boggles at the stupidity and the hypocrisy every single day that the opinions of these people, you don't even need to debate them. Just listen to them talk for 20 minutes and they debunk and debate themselves out of things. I want us to sign 5 or 6 players. Ha ha ha, see Chelsea sign 5 or 6 players. It ain't working. Ha ha ha, no gel. But you want 5 or 6 players. You bellend. What's wrong with you? Pogba looks really, really bad because every single player in the Man United squad makes him look trash. Ollie's got such a great squad. He should be making them play better football, What? What's that now? It doesn't make any sense. You don't need to argue with these people. Just listen to them talk for 10 minutes. And anyone who follows them and believes in them, you're as deluded and as stupid as they are. It's just, and it's what I see. People go, be just Ed Woodward sympathizer. You make it sound like he's doing a good job. I'm not saying he's doing a really good job overall, but the way he's going about his business at the moment, let's see what comes to fruition. Let's see what happens in the end, and then we can go back and assess. And then even then you need to apply in a year's time. You then may need to apply some retrospect. You may then need to apply some, what's the word I'm looking for? When you look back at something, it's got a word. I always say it's very lucrative. It now eludes my mind. Hindsight is very lucrative. And it just depends on what goes on, because the summer that Liverpool missed out on Van Dijk, there was frustration. I mean, would you change the way it happened now? No, because who knows if it had come in the summer with it worked in the same way. It is what it is. That's my view on things anyway, boys. But there we go.
I was just having a little look on Twitter, right? And there's links on there about Ainsley Maitland-Niles. There's people in the comments saying it as well.
I would be absolutely gobsmacked if Man United be looking at Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Ainsley Maitland-Niles for me is so bang average. What's the point of selling Pereira and trying to sell Dalot and then buying Ainsley Maitland-Niles? It just doesn't make. Do you get what I mean? It just doesn't make sense, bro.
I think with him, I look at
Pav, just quickly. When you're talking, every sort of 5-6 seconds, your mic goes really, really weird. I don't know if you're holding the mic away from your mouth or anything like that. Just yes, it's not coming through so clear.
Is that better?
Perfect.
Yeah, I don't understand what his actual position is, because he gets played all over the place, really, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I was first told when I first saw him play, he was a central midfielder. I don't think I've ever really seen him play there. He plays in fullback roles. But as I say, he's a good player, but bang average.
He's a good shit player for Arsenal, Terry, because to be honest, I don't see what Arsenal fans see in him. A lot of times I hear they talk about Ainsley Maitland-Niles. When the rumors were linking him to leave, they based it on keeping him about, him being just an academy player in terms of the real quality of the player. I mean, as I said, he's a good shit player for Arsenal, but nowhere near United standard that we should be bringing to the club.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if he was at our club, we've got players like Scott McTominay, who I do think is slightly better, but it's like they're good squad players. But they're good squad players because they're born and bred, and I think you can get away with them being fringe players, and they're just happy to be here because they've grown up around things. It's like I said about Rashford. If Rashford ends up on the bench because of Sancho coming in over the next 18 months, I think he'll just work hard to get himself back into the first team, like McTominay will, as an example. Maitland-Niles just makes no sense to me on so many levels. Yes, I can't see it's true. I don't know where the rumors come from, but for me, nothing on that at all. A comment here from Simon Stone, who's tweeted today. He says, Bayern Munich have turned down the latest Man United offer for Sancho. He says, within the last week, adamant it is going nowhere. Big decision for United now. Have another go, look elsewhere, or knowing Jadon Sancho would move at the end of the season, get a short-term deal or nothing. So it's interesting that Simon Stone has said that they have turned down a deal in the last week. That feeds in with what's been said about this £91 million bid, along the lines of United suggested it via the intermediaries and it's been pushed back. Let's see again, this is exactly where it is now. Do United go the full hog and say, okay, there's your 120 euros? Do they say, screw this, let's go elsewhere and permanently sign somebody else? Or let's get a couple of loans in? Because even a Jovic loan could make up for Sancho not coming in, if that makes sense. Because it's a shift around. You're not getting somebody who's on the right, but it could be a makeshift for a year, and then you go for Sancho again next summer. There are multiple options with that. It's going to be an interesting one. Pav, what's your opinion? Do you think United will put the 120 bid in?
I think they'll put another bid in, not for a 120. I think they'll keep going like a couple of million above what they've just previously bid until it gets to the point where they just say, all right, so do we just send that 120 bid, and if they accept it, they accept it. If they don't, I think that would be it. Then I see that Dortmund clearly don't want to. Sorry, man, I got a bad cough. Yeah, I just think like if it gets to a point where they do bid 120 and Dortmund still don't accept, that clearly shows that Dortmund definitely don't want to sell him this summer. So it would be a case of maybe January or next summer again. But I reckon there'll be at least two more bids that go in. The final one obviously being the 120.
Yeah, it's an interesting. I'm just reading here about this Maitland-Niles bid as well. I mean, I cannot. I'm just reading who it's come from, and I don't know who the guy is. He's for me, it's an absolute no. I don't think there's any chance whatsoever of the Maitland-Niles deal happening. I think we'll definitely go back in for Sancho again. I mean, the likes of Sky are hoping for it. That's why they've sent a man out there. Got a man outside the stadium. Cottrell just standing out there like, right, it's cold out here in Germany now. Winter's coming. You know, the snow's coming, and I'm standing out here in the cold. Common United put a bid in, but there we go. Comment here says, I would prefer to have nobody rather than Ainsley Maitland-Niles. We are not that desperate. I'd rather keep the low. I'd rather keep the low than bring in Maitland. Maitland-Niles would be such a regressive signing for Manchester United. It really, because there's no, how do I put this? There's no upper limit with him. I can't imagine him getting any better than he is right now. He is no better than what we have. Pointless. Like we've said before, if we don't get Sancho, but we bring in Sarr, we're bringing Telles, that's an improvement on players in those positions that we already have. Maitland-Niles is just, it's like signing another Lingard, another Pereira, another Delot. It makes absolutely zero sense. And I know that's going to upset Gooners, but it's the goddamn truth. It's the goddamn truth. But there we go. Listen, everyone who's tuned in today, you know how much we appreciate it. Please hit the like button. Please hit the share button as well. Until next time, take care of yourselves. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye.